Welcome guys to the online session class related to the topic clutches. In the earlier class we have gone through the video session related to the steering system. Now I'm starting the unit number 4 topic with the clutches in the online video session. And then after this I will take another video which is related to the gear, and then next we have gearboxes related to that, as well as next we'll go through the brakes, and after that we'll go through the another topics like propeller shaft, differential, and all those things functions. Okay, so in this unit 4, which is very important unit, which comprises of 3 to 4 topics which I listed before. One is the clutches, another one is brakes, another one is the gearboxes, another one is a propeller shaft, as well as a differential, and few all-wheel drive, transfer box, all these topics. Okay, so this is very important unit which you can expect more number of questions apart from other units from this unit, maybe about 2 long questions, maybe about 2 short answer questions. So let's start with the topic today with the clutches. So coming to the topic, the clutch, here we are going to learn the contents like types of transmission system with the start of the unit number 4, which are going to learn. And next is clutch definition and use, clutch functions, clutch operation, next requirements, single and multi-plate clutch working, and again you have some types of clutches over there, and the next fluid coupling, torque converters, manual and automatic transmission, and overdrive. So these are the topics which you are going to learn in today's class. Okay, let's start first with the transmission. So what is basically a transmission system? What is going to happen in a transmission system? So what are the parts of the transmission system? First we'll try to learn over here. So basically a transmission system is nothing but initially whatever the power which is generally produced in the engine, if you want to transmit the power from the engine onto the rear wheel. Suppose if it is a case of a front wheel drive, or maybe if a case of a rear wheel drive. If it is a case of a front wheel drive, your engine is fixed at the front, as well as your power is transmitted from your engine onto the rear axles, and where that will be a live axle, and the front one will be a dead axle which follows your rear axles. So in the case of your rear engine will be mounted at the rear back end, and where your power which is produced will be transferred from your engine onto the rear axles, and then that will be a live axles, and front will be your following axles for this one. Okay, your front axle will be alive and it follows that. So usually many of the vehicles will be having front engine for front wheel drive systems, but only few or the rare cases will be having a rear wheel drives. That is the case which you go on with the nano vehicle, which you have the rear wheel drive one. So here coming to the mechanism, so in between when you are transferring the power from your engine onto your rear wheel, there are different components in which it helps to transmit your power. Such way like when it has been transferred from the engine, it has been transmitted with the help of the clutch in between, and then you have a gearbox. So in the gearbox you have your torque variation, and the clutch, what is the mechanism, we are going to learn right now. And after the torque variation, next it has been transferred onto the drive shaft which you have, that generally we say it as a propeller shaft, and from the shaft which has been laid with one what you call joints, which we say it as a universal joints, so or maybe a couplings and all. So and that it has been later been transferred onto your differential. So these differential which is used to equally distribute the power and then transfer onto your rear wheels equally, and then the power will be equally distributed to wheels, and then your with the help of the wheels which makes your movement, and then it follows the front wheels. Okay, so this is your basic working of your transmission system. So the mechanism that transmits the power developed by the engine of an automobile to the engine of your driving wheel is called as a transmission system, or maybe we also say it as a powertrain. So this composed of number of components just before which I have listed: clutch, gearbox, propeller shaft, universal joints, rear axle, wheels, and tires. So here there are different types of transmissions. Those are like manual transmission, automatic transmission, semi-automatic transmission, CVT, all these kinds of transmission. We'll go through one by one later in the case of our codes which are going to learn. So next, coming to the functions of transmission. So if you are trying to list what are the functions of transmission, basically it provides a connection and disconnection of your engine from the rest of your powertrain without any shock and smooth power transmission. That is a major function of your transmission system. So this part of your engagement and disengagement, or maybe a connection and disconnection, is usually done with the help of a clutch. And next is, it provides a varied leverage between your engine and drive wheels. So that leverage is which usually done with the help of your gearboxes. It provides a means of transfer power in the opposite direction. And next, it enables the power transmission at varied angle and varied length, that is by fixing of your propeller shaft by varying length or maybe with a varied angle, all this. Next, it enables your speed reduction, maybe with the help of your drive wheels, maybe a 5:1 or 4:1, 6:1, based on the speed reduction. And next is, it enables your diversion of your power flow at right angles. These are major functions of your, if you list out, there are a number of functions. Usually if there is a question been asked in your final exam, like list out the functions of your transmission for 2-marker question, you can list out 4 functions among this. Okay, next is, it has the effect of your torque reaction, driving thrust, braking effect, all those things which comes under all the part of your transmission itself. One by one individually we will learn about the function this transmission system. First we'll start with the clutch, next we'll move on to the gearboxes, and next we'll move on to the brakes. So coming to the next one, this is a simple figure which actually gives a clear idea about the transmission system, what we are going to learn, what are the things which we have over here. This we have the hydraulic transmission system and mechanical transmission system. Usually in the case of your mechanical, you have your clutches, gearboxes, your propeller shaft, all those things which comes under mechanical one. And apart from that mechanical one, there is also hydraulic transmission, which we also will be learning apart from this of your mechanical one, which is like fluid coupling, torque converters, automatic or semi-automatic one, manual transmission, all this comes under your hydraulic transmission system. So one after one we will try to learn each working principle and functions related to that. Okay, next, coming to the major important one, let's start now with the clutch. So what is a clutch? Clutch is a mechanism which actually connects or disconnects the transmission of power from working part to the another one. That is, usually you have your crankshaft and a gearbox as a primary shaft. In this case, you have your crankshaft and gearbox as a primary shaft in this case. So you can list out a number of definitions which is related to the the clutch. It may be a mechanism which allows a rotary motion of one shaft to be transmitted to the other shaft, whose axis is coincident with that of the first. Anything, you can list out any number of definitions, but the major important about the clutch is like it engaging and disengaging the vehicle in the transmission of your power. Okay, next, if you move on, where clutch is usually located between, what is the location of the clutch? Clutch is located between your engine and the gearbox. So in between you have your engagement and disengagement with the help of this clutch. So usually when the clutch is engaged, the power which is present in the engine it flows from the engine onto your rear wheels. So if it is disengaged, then the power is not being transmitted. So this is about based on your driving conditions when you are moving. Sometimes you want your power to be transmitted continuously when you are moving on your highways. Sometimes when you are traveling in your traffic conditions, so continuously if you want to stop your vehicle and you have to slow down your vehicle, this is all usually done with the help of your clutch, disengagement, engagement, and maybe variation of your torque when you are going to change your gates. All this is usually done with the help of your engagement, disengagement of the clutch itself. Okay, so here you have your clutch when it is disengaged, starting the engine, shifting the gates, and idling the gates. So when the clutch is disengaged, then starting the engine, shifting the gates, and idling the engine in a sequence order which I have listed over here just before what I told you about the working of the clutch. And when the clutch is engaged, only the vehicle is to move and it is kept engaged and the vehicle is moving. So when the clutch is disengaged, so what are the requirements you have? It allows the vehicle to come to stop with the transmission remains in a gear, and it allows the driver to smoothly take off from a dead stop, and it allows the driver to smoothly change gears, and it must be able to transmit power and torque without slipping. So this is the major requirements and the importance of the clutch. So when you move on to the definition, how do you define your clutch? Sometimes if it has been asked in a 2-marker question. Clutch is a device which is used in a transmission system of your motor vehicle to engage and disengage to the transmission. You can list out any number of definition. You can also list out such a way like a clutch is a mechanism which connects or disconnects the transmission of power from one working part to the another. That is maybe a crankshaft and a gearing box as a primary shaft. You can list out any of the definitions in between. And next, what is the purpose of the clutch? So clutches are usually a device which is you have your two rotating shaft. So in this, one is typically driven by the motor or a pulley, and the other shaft is usually driving another one. So if suppose, let us not only stick on to the automobile, usually if you go with any of your machine or maybe any of their components, suppose such a way like if you take an instant or example in for a drill, one shaft is driven by a motor and another is driving by a drill chuck. So the clutch connects the two shafts, so such a way like they can either be locked together and spin at the same time, or maybe decoupled and spin at the different speeds. So this is usually the role of the clutch in case of your drill machine which you have. And next, if you go on to the another example for the major important one application in a car, you need your clutch to engage and disengage, which your engine spits all time and the car wheels don't sometimes, and in order for a car to stop without killing the engine, the wheels need to disconnect from the engine somehow. So you can go through all this theory part, which is very simple. A simple understanding, if you consider or know that clutch is usually used for continuously disengaging for the transmission of your power which is not required sometimes to move your vehicle, and to vary your gears. That is a major important purpose of your clutch. And next, functions. You can list out many functions which is related to the clutches. Usually these are the functions which I have listed over here. To permit engagement or disengagement of a gear when the vehicle is stationary and running in a simple way. Concept is same. The writing part which may vary in a different ways, maybe in terms of your requirement, in terms of your functions, in terms of your objectives, anything. Okay. And next is to transmit the engine power to the road wheel smoothly without shock. And next is to permit the engagement of gears when the vehicle is in a motion or without damaging. Or you can list out any of the n number of functions related to this one. If it is asked for 2 marker question, these are the 3 functions which you can list out. So if still there is any more functions which I have missed, which I have not listed over here, you can also add some points to this. Okay. Next, requirements. Just before we all learned about the functions, now we'll move on to the requirements. So what is the basic requirements? Requirements will be like torque transmission should be smooth enough, and you should have your gradual engagement, not sudden, not suddenly disconnecting, and your heat dissipation should be low, and your balancing your dynamically should be good enough, and there should be no vibration damping. It should be smooth enough to transmit your power, and ease in operation, lightness, low in cost, simple in operation. So these are the basic requirements you can list out for the clutch. If there is asked for 2 marker question, maybe a 3 marks, you can list out all these requirements. Next, what are the parts which you have for those clutches? You have such a way like driving member, the driven member, and the operating member. These are the 3 parts which you have. So in this, basically driving member is nothing but which is the input power which has been given by the engine one, and this usually transmits the power from the driving member to the driven member one. These driven member one which follows the driving member one. In between you have your operating members. Okay. So you usually have a flywheel which is mounted on the engine crankshaft. A disc is bolted to the flywheel which is known as a pressure plate or maybe a driving disc. So this is usually generally see it as a driving member one. Usually a flywheel which is fixed in between to have your smooth transmission of your power, which absorbs all those things with vibrations and all, which is in detail you have already learned about the flywheels and all. So let us not deviate into the topic. Now the next one is the driving member, where it is driving member is also a kind of a disc clutch plate, in which this plate can slide freely to and fro on the clutch shaft. So these are all parts of your clutch. I will show you a figure related to this, and I will play some video also related to this, such that it will be clear for you to understand. And next is what is the operating members. Operating members which consist of a pedal or maybe a lever which you are trying to press for engaging or disengaging by your foot. That is one of the operating member which comes under the part of this. Apart from this, you also have pressure plate, driven plate, release levers, engagement spring, sliding sleeve, thrust bearing, cover plates, all this, some other parts also which you can list out a part of the parts of the clutches. And next major one, which if you move on, what is the principle of the clutch? This is very important one. The major principle of the clutch is based on the friction. When two friction surfaces are brought in contact with each other and pressed, they are united due to the friction between them. If one is revolved, and the other will also revolve along with that. The friction between the two surfaces usually depends upon maybe on the area, or maybe on the pressure applied, or maybe the coefficient of friction between the surface plates or material. So this is a major principle of the clutch, is based on the friction itself. So if one, let's say if your one surface is considered as a driving member and another surface as a driven member, the driving member usually kept rotating, and when the driver member is brought in contact with the driving member, it also starts rotating when the driven member is separated from your driving member. It stops revolving. This is how your clutch will operate. Okay, so here the driving member of the clutch is usually a flywheel, and your driven member is you have your plates, which you have your disc which is mounted onto the clutch. So this entire assembly will be bolted onto the flywheel, and it will start rotating at all time. This flywheel and the pressure plates, which usually grips the driving member between them under an action of your pressure springs. So these are all the parts. So we'll go through the working in a later case. We will try to understand about that. Next, coming to these clutches, what are the types? There are many types of the clutches which you have. The major part of that is your friction clutch. There are friction clutches and other clutches also. The major important one, the major application in all the automobiles will be usually a friction clutch. Okay, so here the friction clutch has its its principal application, the transmission of your power, shafts and machines which must be started and stopped frequently. Its application is also found in cases where your power is to be delivered to machines partially or fully loaded. So in this, if you go through the types, which in case of your friction clutches, again you have single plate clutch, multi plate clutch. Again in case of your multi plate clutch, you have wet and dry clutches and cone clutch, and in that you have external and internal. So this is about the friction clutch. And apart from this, there is some other clutches also, which is your positive clutches, such a way like you have centrifugal clutch, electromagnetic clutch, vacuum clutch, and hydraulic clutch. Okay, so these are all the types of the clutches. As part of the syllabus which is concerned, mostly which I have seen in the questions which has been asked in your OU exam is majorly from friction clutches, that is of your single plate and multi plate, as well as then centrifugal clutch, usually which I have seen the questions. As of now, there was no question being asked in electromagnetic, vacuum and hydraulic clutch, but still then we'll try to learn about theoretically what is the electromagnetic, vacuum and hydraulic clutch, how does it works and all. And sometimes, who knows, if the question has been asked, you should be able to answer that. Okay, so the positive clutches are used when your positive drive is required. The simplest of that is generally we say it as a jaw or maybe a clack clutch. Okay, so again in case of your clutches, you have your wet clutch and dry clutch. Wet clutch is nothing but which is immersed in your lubricating fluid, which keeps the surface clean and gives you a smooth performance. That is usually we say it as a wet clutches, which generally has a longer life. And dry clutches is nothing but there is no immersing of your clutch into the fluid, which runs dry. Most of the cases you will be having your wet clutches itself in all the kind of automobiles. There are a few cases where you have your working of your motorcycle or maybe automobile of anything with a dry clutch also, that we'll see later at the applications and all. Now let's move on to the single plate clutch. Let's start about the working of your single plate clutch. So here single plate clutch are most commonly used in all the automobiles for kick engagement and disengagement, which usually permits for changing of your gear with a minimum efforts. Usually there are many types of designs of your coil spring pressure plate, which I will show you the construction figure related to the single plate clutch working. Then you will understand about that. Before that, let us understand about the single plate clutch, which usually has one clutch plate which is mounted on the spline of your clutch shaft. The flywheel is mounted on the engine crankshaft, and which rotates with it, which becomes a driving member to that. So this usually the pressure plates are bolted onto the flywheel through the clutch springs. It is free to slide on the clutch shaft when the clutch plate is operated. So usually what happens when you engage the clutch, and what happens when you disengage the clutch. So we'll go through that. When the clutch plate is gripped between the flywheel and the pressure plate, due to the friction, the major principle of that working is the friction itself. The clutch plate and the pressure plate revolves with the flywheel. As the clutch plate revolves, the clutch shaft also revolves. So this clutch shaft is connected to the transmission, thus the engine power has been transmitted onto the crankshaft to the clutch shaft. That is when you are engaging the clutch, and when you are disengaging the clutch is pressed with the help of your foot onto that pedal one. The pressure plate moves back against the force on the spring, and the clutch plate becomes free between your flywheel and the pressure plate, and this flywheel remains rotating as long as the engine is running, and this clutch shaft speed reduces slowly, and finally it stops rotating. As soon as the clutch plate is pressed, the clutch is said to be disengaged. So this is usually the working of your case of your single plate clutch one. So let us move on to the figure to just quickly understand this. Here you can observe the figure about the single plate clutch, in which it is given the many components, like you have your spring over here, you have your spring over here, and next you have your pressure plate. This is your foot valve, and next you have your release lever over here, and the knife edge one, thrust bearing, body, clutch plate, flywheel, crankshaft, driving shaft, all these things. Okay, so here when you generally press this, then the pressure which has been applied by the foot will make this pressure plate or the single plate which is generally present which makes to move in the forward direction one. Okay, in between you have your springs which comes compressing and expanding, in which there is a flywheel which is present over here. These flywheel is connected to this such a way like it is your driving member, in which the the engine power which is usually transmitted, which is usually done with the help of your driving shaft, which is present over here. From this, the power which has been transmitted with the help of the engagement and disengagement, the power which is present over here, which will be transmitted onto your driven shaft one. So suppose when you just engage this, and then the power which will be continuously flowing over here, and then when you disengage this, it stops the power to flow onto your driving member. That is usually done with the help of this pressure plates pressing against each other. That is majorly due to the friction. So here majorly there is a diaphragm which is usually present over there, just which acts as a series of levers, and these levers are not actually needed, but which acts as a levering which for the absorbing one. And next is with the help of this one, less effort is required on the pedal to keep the clutch disengaged when the load is actually uniform and constant on the driven plate, and this single plate clutch which is squeezes, rattles and vibrations are also mostly eliminated in the case of this single plate clutch. Okay, so this is general working principle of your single plate clutch one. You can also observe this one, the figure, the working animated one, you can observe over here. Let's start first over here. Yeah, this is your driving member which you have, and this is a major crankshaft which is connected onto the driving shaft one, with the help of the engine power which is produced over there, which is usually transmitted onto the crankshaft one. And next you have your flywheel which is attached onto that, which is all your pressure plates which is usually bolted onto that. And this is your foot lever, and which you have your gearbox which is in line to this. This is fixed in between your gearbox and to the engine one. Okay, so here these are all the components which you can observe. The foot pedal, when it has been pressed, this fork lever which by the pressure on this, which allows or moves the what do you call this, pressure plate which is generally present in the forward direction. In between you have your pressure springs which observes over there, and there is a release lever and pressure plates. This is a single plate one for the single plate clutch, and for the multi plate clutches, if you go on, you'll be having more number of plate clutches, in such a way like if you increase more number of plates over there, such a way like you have your more uniform transmission of your power, which absorbs more your vibration and all those things. So here you have your friction lining majorly, because this comes under the friction clutch, and this is the figure which you can observe over here for the working one. When you generally press your with the help of your foot pedal over here, this which moves in the forward direction with the help of your release bearing, and this the rotating figure or maybe a release lever which will move with the pivoted one, which pushes your clutch plate in the forward direction one. Okay, by that, when it has been engaged, so there will be no power transmission directly onto the gearbox one, and it stops the power transmission over here. And later when you release, and then whatever the power which has been produced over here will be continuously transferred onto the gearbox shaft, and then finally onto your rear wheels. So this is about the first figure related to the single plate clutch. I hope I'm clear with the working of your single plate clutch. And next, coming to the multi plate clutch, which is in a similar lines working of your single plate clutch. Only thing is such a way like you have more number of plates which has been mounted in line to your single plate clutch. So by this, increased number of friction surfaces will increase the capacity of the clutch to transmit smooth torque, and these plates usually fitted to the engine shaft and gearbox. So coming to the working, which is also the similar line just before what you have learned. Clutch plate which is engaged with the flywheel, the torque has been transmitted, and which has been pressed, and then which has been engaged, and then the power cuts off over there, and then which has been released, disengaged, and then power continuously transmission. This is all similar working case just before which I have shown you in the video. And next, coming on to the other type which you have in this part of your syllabus is your cone clutch. So let's read about the cone clutch. So cone clutch consists of your friction surfaces in the form of a cone, which you have your male cone and a female cone on this, which I will show you a figure and then I will explain you clearly. You will you'll understand about that. And next is when the clutch is engaged with the friction surfaces on the male cone, which are in contact with that of a female cone. Due to that force of your spring, then your clutch pedal which is pressed, then the the cone which slides against the spring force, and the clutch has been disengaged. So this is your major working principle of your cone clutch, in which the figure which is shown you can observe over there. I will show you the figure or the working about the cone clutch one. Just a moment. Yeah, this is a figure which you can observe about the cone clutch. in which there is the outer cone one, the driving shaft or inner cone one, and springs in between, and the friction lining. So here usually it consists a flywheel and a cone which is mounted on the driving and the driven shaft one. So usually the shape of this side of the flywheel facing you, which is the cone one, in such a way like to accommodate your cone readily when the clutch is engaged, which you have your male and the female cone one. The surface contacts are lined with your friction lining. So as soon as when the cone has been disengaged from the flywheel by the lever mechanism which operates on the groove of a cone. So this is how you have your male cone and a female cone one. So which comes in contact with that when you press the lever on to that, which is in a contact of your male and the female one, it stops the transmission of your power. And then when you disengage the lever one, which comes out of that due to the action of your springs, then it has been disengaged and your power has been continuously transmitted. So this is about your cone clutch one. And next, if you go, the major thing is like you have an advantage of the clutch is like normal force which is acting on the friction surface is greater than the axial force as compared to the single plate clutch. So the cone clutch is practically there is also one disadvantage, such a way like if your cone angle is made smaller, that is less than your 20 degrees, then the cone tends to bind, and as well as it's difficult to engage the clutch when the angle is which is less than 20 degrees. So that is one of the major disadvantage which you can list out in case of your cone clutch. Okay, now let's move on to the other one, which is your centrifugal clutch. So coming to the centrifugal clutch which you have, this centrifugal clutch actually it automatically disengages when your speed falls and engages when your speed rises. That is depends upon your action of your centrifugal force, which is tending your spring force to keep in engagement or in a disengagement position, which actually doesn't require any clutch pedal for operating, which is because the centrifugal clutches actually comes under a automatic or maybe a semi-automatic. In case of the automatic or semi-automatic transmission, we generally use the centrifugal clutches. So here the clutches operate, the vehicle has been turned in any gear by pressing the accelerator pedal and is stopped in gear without stalling the engine, and then your vehicle can start. So again, in a centrifugal clutches we have fully automated one and semi-automated one also in this case, where we generally say it as a centrifugal clutch. Here the weights are usually forcing outwards because of the centrifugal force which is acting. When the clutch speed is increasing, then the lever which is present over there will release and then apply more pressure on the pressure plates. Thus by this, when you are increasing the contact of your friction disc, then you are with the help to the flywheel, then it can operate without any much pressure onto that. So by that you have your transmission of your power onto that. So this is your centrifugal clutch figure, if you can observe over here. So due to the centrifugal force which is tending outwards, which makes your engagement and disengagement when your speed which is falling below and which is speed which has been rising more. Okay, there is a centrifugal bob in between which has been positioned in such a way like you have your centrifugal force exerted by them with the clutch when it is rotating, which will result in your release lever, such a way like the clearance between these release levers and as well as your bearings, which is trying to reduce due to the levers which is actually present towards your flywheel. Okay, so while the engine speeds are high, the force generated by the weights will bring your spring pressure, that such a way like you have your smooth and acceptable or maybe no variation in your change of your power to the changing of your gears. By this varying condition of your load and speed, you can transmit your power. So that is about your centrifugal clutches. Yeah, next coming on to the other type of the clutch is electromagnetic clutch. So this is a very simple clutch in which you have your windings usually present on case of your flywheel over there. So to those windings, so the current is usually supplied with maybe with the help of your battery onto that. So when current is continuously supplying onto the winding, it generally produces an electromagnetic field onto that. So when this electromagnetic field is produced, you have your pressure plates generally, so this will attract your pressure plate onto that. So by this you have your engagement of the clutch, and when the power supply has been cut off, then your clutch has been disengaged. So this is how your electromagnetic clutch works. So if you can observe the working of your electromagnetic clutches such a way, like you have your windings which is generally present onto the flywheel one, where the current which has been supplied continuously with the help of your battery to this winding one, you have your plates in which when the power which has been supplied, it will pull towards the pressure plates. By that your engagement will take place, as when your power has been supplied off, then it continuously disengages. This is not only used in automobiles, it is used in various applications which is listed over here. You can observe in the off-road equipment and cranes and all those things, where you have your output one, rotor, armature, field coil, all these things about the armature, rotor, field coil, which is already we have learnt in unit number 2 in case of your electrical system. I'm not going to repeat it once again over here. If you are not clear, just you can recall the notes related to the electrical components of your armature and all. So there is a friction material which is present over here. By the action of the pressure plates, the engagement and disengagement will usually takes place. So this is about your clutch. Next comes to the another type, which is the vacuum clutch. We'll go through the figure and then understand about this vacuum clutch. So here the vacuum in clutch, which generally consists of a cylinder which is made vacuum, and in that you have your piston over there, and to that you have your solenoid which is the operating one, and you also have a non-return valve. So what happens, this reservoir which is generally present, which the complete one which you have your cylinder and all those, which is usually connected onto the manifold one through the non-return valve which you have in the case of your cylinder one of your one, and this vacuum cylinder is generally connected to this reservoir with the help of the solenoid one, which you have your solenoid operated valve. This solenoid is operated from the battery or maybe your circuit, in which when your switch is placed in with the gear lever, then the movement of the piston which is present over here, this movement of the piston which is present over here is being transmitted to the linkages of the clutch to which is causing to disengage. And when the driver is is not operating your gear lever, or maybe which is you are not transmitting, if you want a continuous transmission of your, when the clutch remains engaged due to the force of your springs. So by this, the movement of your piston which is generally present on a vacuum cylinder, it will try to engage and disengage your clutch. So this is about your working of the vacuum clutch. Coming to the next one, which is you have your hydraulic clutch after the type of the vacuum clutch. So coming to this, the hydraulic clutch which you have, which is the similar one in line to your vacuum clutch. The difference between this vacuum clutch and the hydraulic clutch is such a like you have your vacuum clutch which is operated by the vacuum in the cylinder which is present. As far as when you go with the hydraulic clutch, you usually have a cylinder which is stored with an oil which is present in the reservoir. If you can observe the figure over here, you have an accumulator over here, and you have a pump in between, and you have a oil reservoir which is present over here, and there is a control valve which is present in between, and this is your cylinder which is present, in which you have your piston. due to the movement of this piston itself onto the clutch, you have your engagement and disengagement. So how this is usually taking place, that will try to know right now the working one. This pump is usually operated by the engine itself, which you have your pump, which is usually operated by the engine itself with the help of your belt which is attached to that. So this oil which is present on the reservoir is usually pumped into the accumulator with the help of this. From here it has been pumped onto the accumulator tank. These accumulator tank is usually connected onto your cylinder one, okay, through the control valve which is usually have. The control valve is electronically controlled by a switch in case of your gear lever one. So when your driver hold your gear lever to change your gear, this switch which is generally present is operated usually to control your control valve, which is admitting the oil which is generally present over here in the reservoir onto this the piston one. By this admitting of your oil from your oil reservoir, which will make your piston to move forward direction to engage, and due to the pressure which is acting as soon as your driver will use the gear lever, which will open your switch and such a way like the closed control valve which is generally present, which will make your clutch to disengage from that, and then you have your power which to be transmitting continuously. So this is about your case of the working of your hydraulic clutch. Yeah, that's it about the types of the clutches. Now let's move on to the another one part of the transmission system which we have is your hydraulic transmission one. So in case of your hydraulic transmission, you have the torque converters and fluid couplings and all those things. So we'll learn one by one how your torque converters and fluid couplings works. So basically your fluid coupling is usually used when you have your automatic transmission case in case of your all automobiles. So usually your fluid coupling is a hydrodynamic device which is used to transmit your rotating mechanical power, which is used in automobile transmission as an alternative to mechanical clutch. In case of your manual power transmission, you have your clutch, where in case of your automatic transmission you have your fluid coupling. So how does this fluid coupling works and all those things, now we'll try to learn with the help of the working one. So here if you can observe the figure over there which is given about the fluid coupling one, this is usually a hydraulic unit in which it is a type of a clutch in which is maybe a semi or maybe a fully automatic one, which is used to transmit your engine torque, or maybe in case of your transmission one. Here what is a major important one is your coupling, which you have the major part of this flywheel assembly one which you have over here. You know, it is also called as a fluid flywheel sometimes. So what is a major important one apart from this, you have your impeller one, which is linked to your engine crankshaft one. So how does it basically work is like, as the oil which is generally present as soon as when you start your power transmission one, the oil which is present sets into the motion one, which is released when your throttle has been opened. These force of the rotating one, or maybe the trapped oil which is present on the fins on the driving unit, which you have your driving unit, maybe your in this case maybe your turbine, or maybe the runner one, which we generally say it as, it makes this to rotate. So this driving one which is generally present over here, the oil which is generally present, which forces to flow onto your driving member one, which is your turbine or maybe your runner one. So by this motion transmission, you have your power of your clutch driving plate, maybe without any metal to metal contact. Previously we used to have your metal contact with the help of your pressure plates and all. So here there is no contact of your metal to metal one. So as you know, the driving member carries around the fluid, it tends to rotate the turbine as you know, the speed of the driving member increases. Then what does it do? It circulates the fluid, which gains your energy, and this is important on the turbine, and it's also make the turbine or the impeller blades to rotate. By this your power has been transmitted from your impeller or pump onto the turbine. So usually we make your fluid coupling at a slip of maybe 2 to 4%. which is not running at a full load condition. So if your slip is about 2 to 4% or maybe 5%, that implies that your turbine is slightly running slower than your impeller, such a way like to not have your complete disconnection of your drive. So this fluid coupling is generally not suitable for your ordinary gearboxes. So this is usually used in an automatic or semi-automatic one or fully automatic one, in case when you have your epicyclic gears or maybe automatic gearbox one. So this is how your fluid coupling works. I'll show you a video related to this fluid coupling also. So in this, what are the major advantages is like you have your smooth transmission of your power from your engine to gears, and you do not have any kind of clutch pedals. You eliminate your clutch pedal, and next is you do not have that torsional vibration which has been onto your crankshaft, and your maintenance problem will be less due to the there is no friction materials which is coming in metal to metal contact, and during the braking or maybe coming down a hill, your transmission shocks is usually absorbed by the fluid which is generally present over here. So that is a major advantages which you have about the torque fluid coupling one. Next we'll move on to the another one which is part of your hydraulic transmission, which you have is your torque converter one. So this torque converter is a similar line of your fluid coupling which we are just before which we have learned. So this is also a hydraulic transmission which increases the torque of the vehicle, reducing its speeds. It provides a continuous variation of ratio from low to high. The key characteristics of your torque converter is its ability to multiply its torque when there is a substantial difference between the input and output rotational speeds. By this, which you are providing the equivalent of a reduction gear. The cars which is majorly with your automatic transmission have no clutch that disconnects the transmission from the engine. So usually they use this device in case of your automatic or maybe semi-automatic one, the torque converters one. Okay, so let's move on in detail to learn about the torque converters one. This is the same figure which is related to the case of your fluid coupling one, where if you go through this torque converter one, which you have the driving shaft one and the driven shaft one, and between you have your pump and the turbine runners one. So as when your engine is running, it makes your pump rotate with the help of the flywheel. Then the fluid which is generally present, it throws off onto the blade by the fast movement of the pump, which usually hits the blade on the turbine with the sufficient force, which actually makes the turbines to rotate. So as faster the engine which is rotating, then stronger the flow of oil from your pump onto the turbine, and it makes your shaft also which to run. As when the engine slow down to generally ideal speed, the fluid which is thrown off, which is unable to make your turbine rotates, and the engine is automatically unplugged from your powertrain. This is how you have your engagement and the transmission of your power continuously without the help of your foot valve manually doing all those things. So major advantage of the torque converters is you have your which you can multiply your torque without having your gear reduction or maybe additional power which is to be supplied. So in between, the major thing which you have over there to have your torque converter is basically done with the help of a stator. This is important part of your torque converters one. This stator is usually located between your pump and your turbine, which will allow your torque converter to increase your torque to act as a clutch, maybe in a ratio of 1:3 or maybe 1:5 ratio. Now suppose if you apply the power transmission to be done without help of a stator, it may be in terms if you take in power, if it is in terms of your power maybe of 5 kilowatts, then with the help of your stator which is present in between, you can have your multiplication of torque, such maybe at 5 times to that, maybe in case of that will be about 25 kilowatts. So just an example which I'm telling you. So this stator usually have a series of curved blades or vanes, which I'll show you the figure, the working principle. such a way like easily you can understand about the torque converters one. So here you have your impeller one, and between you have your stator, and then you have your rotor. So in between you have your torque converter which has been fixed in case of your automatic one. So the major thing which you have your stator, which has your series of your curved blades, or maybe you have your vanes. This is a pump and this is your turbine, which is formed as a single ended one. This fluid which is present over here, which has been transmitted by the motion of rotation of your pump onto your turbine, such that it makes your turbine blades to rotate. In between you have your stator. So next figure you can observe over there. So by this, the swirling flow which you have over there, this is your sealing flow, in which you have your pump and the turbine as a single unit one. So in between you can have your react fluid, which is from your pump, which is the direct transmission of your power when there is no engagement of your clutch for your variation of your gears. Yeah, this is your pump turbine one. You can observe the figure over here. This cover one, which is a housing one to protect the bearings. So in between you have your stator, which is actually to multiply your torque one, as when you have your series of curved blades in case of your stator one, the oil which is thrown off from the turbine, which will hit your stator blades, they actually stator is usually to guide. Actually it guides towards the pump, which in turn redirects the oil back outwards the turbine. This repeated process, which will actually increase your engine turning effort or maybe a torque. In case of your torque converters, the torque is almost a double in case when you use the stator maybe 2 times or maybe 4 times maximum also. It is major as your stator is needed only when you are pump and turbine are turning at a different speeds. If it is running at the same speed, then there is no usage of your stator. Usually your turbine will be running at a slower speed than your pump. That is the case. In order to multiply your torque, we usually go with the stator in between. So that is about the working principle of your torque. So generally the torque converter increases your engine torque at a difference in speeds when your pump and turbine is great. As the speed of your turbine approaching the speed of the pump, then your increase in your torque, which will usually fall, and it will becomes about in a ratio of 1:1. So in that case your stator will not be in a picture over there. So this is how the general working principle of your torque converters which you have. These torque converters is usually used in case of all your automatic transmission case of your automobiles. So this is a very important one. I've seen many number of times a question being asked in the exam for about the torque converters one. What is a torque converter, where it is used, and what is a construction, what is the working principle. In all this way they have asked the number of times about your torque converters. Right, that is about the fluid coupling and the torque converters, which is generally used in case of your semi-automatic or fully automatic one. So just before of your hydraulic coupling one, we have learned about the manual transmission one, such way like you have your single plate one, multi plate one, and cone clutches, friction clutches, and you have what else you have learned about vacuum clutch and hydraulic clutches and all those things. Apart from that, when you go on to the manual transmission, the major principle is working over there is a friction, which is coming into the picture. Based on that is you have moment of pressing your pedal by the foot. You have your pressure plates which is pressing against, then you have your engagement, and then when you release the lever due to the springs which is generally present, it pushes back. Then you have your what do you call, disengagement, and then power, which is usually transmission. That is about the manual case which we have learned about that previous one. Now we will move on to the working of the automatic transmission one, how usually your automatic transmission generally works. So in between you have your clutch fully depressed, clutch slip, and clutch fully released. So sometimes if there is a short question which is could be expected in case of clutch, they may ask you what is clutch fully depressed, or maybe clutch slip, or maybe clutch fully released. Usually clutch slip is a major problem. So clutch slip is nothing but the point where you have your varying between your fully depressed one and your release. When you have your fully depressed and release, what is fully depressed? It is a simple one which you have your fully disengaging the pedal fully, then we say it as a depressing one. When you are applying the force, generally we say it as an released one, or the engaging one. So in between which you have your difference of that, we generally say it as a clutch slip. Which this slip is used to start the vehicle from your standstill. It also allows your engine rotation to adjust to newly set gear ratio which you generally have, and it is usually recommended to not to slip the clutch for a long time, because a lot of heat which generated, resulting in a energy wastage if you continuously have your clutch slippage. So that's it about your clutch slippages, depression and releasing one. Next we will learn about the automatic transmission one. How does your automatic transmission works? So in this case you can observe the figure. In case of your automatic transmission one, if you go through, where you have different kinds of gears, which you have the ring gear, planet gear, sun gear, and which is coming in mesh with your sun gear for your driving shaft one, in which you have where you do not have your clutch engaging and disengaging, where based on your speed of your engine, the vehicle which has been set, by that your gears will get engaged, maybe a number 1, 2, 3 and all those things. So in detail about the working of your automatic transmission one, I will show you the figure with video which is related to that. I will show you in the gearboxes. When you go through that working of your manual gearboxes and automatic gearboxes, then I will clearly explain you what is the working principle of your automatic transmission with a video. So as of now, you can observe in the major cities right now we are moving on from your manual transmission to the automatic transmission one. So which comes into the major picture one. If you can observe over here, what is the stages of your automatic transmission, you can observe the major is you have your drive mode, parking mode, and then you have your manual mode. You also have semi-automatic, such a way like if you go for example, Celerio is one of the car which you have your semi-automatic one, where you have your manual gear shifting levers also, as well as you can completely change that mode into the fully automatic one also. So here you have your park, reverse, neutral, low and drive mode by selecting all those things. And sometimes if the question been asked about the in detail working of your automatic transmission, I will show you another video when I go with the gearboxes. So now there is a last one. Another one is the comparison between your manual and automatic transmission. Sometimes the question will be asked in the exam. So in case of your vehicle of your manual transmission, it is very cheap in case of manual transmission. In case of automatic transmission, it is obviously a costlier one, where fuel economy in case of your manual transmission will be better or good than you compared with your automatic transmission one, because you know excuse me, the transmission is not better, and the gear train efficiency which will not be that higher when you compare with a manual transmission. In case of your automatic one, that's the case. You have your low fuel economy when you compared with the manual one, and you have your more control in case of your manual transmission. Suppose if you want to increase your speed by variation of your torque when you are overtaking in a vehicle, that all controls you can have more in case of your manual transmission than when you compare to the automatic transmission. In case of your automatic transmission, there will be a time lag or a gap in between to continuously transfer your power. Okay, so that is about your case of your manual and automatic transmission. Next we will move on to the other topic, that is overdrive. The last one coming on to that is your overdrive. Usually the overdrive has a faster output one speed than your input speed. So what is an overdrive and where do we use generally, we'll go through that. If you can observe the figure over here which is given, it consists of your freewheel clutch in between, and you have your carrier one, ring gear, planet gear, sun gear, and all those things. Usually the overdrive is used when your speed increases in the opposite one to have your reduction, which to engage or maybe disengaging one. Major important one is to improve your efficiency. When you have your case of the previous one which I learned was a torque converters one, where if you increase your torque which has been multiplied with the help of your stator over there, in a similar lines your overdrive which is fixed onto your torque converter one, and a shaft which is usually attached onto the housing one on the and which is actually bolted onto the flywheel of your engine one, this one output one. And here you have your small sun gear and as well as a large sun gear, which is usually held with the help of this overdrive. Then if nothing is connected to the turbine, the only input comes from your converting of your housing. So this your input what you call shaft, which is generally present over here, the power which is usually transmitted from here, this carrier which moves in a forward direction to engage your freewheel clutch, such a way like if you want more power to be transmitted smoothly, then this freewheel clutch which comes into the picture, and then engagement when it takes place, and then it disengages with the help by bringing the carrier back onto this. By this you have your disengagement. The major advantage of this is, you know, the engine life will be increased and maybe your speed of that engine will be increasing, which fuel economy will be increased, and also the vibrations or maybe noises which is generally present will be reduced with the help of the overdrive mechanism. So sometimes if the question has been asked in the exam about the overdrive, that is for 5 marks question, you need to sketch it and then you need to write down the working principle related to this. So that's it about your clutches topic. I hope I'm clear till here. I will stop it now, and next in another class I will make a separate video which is related to the gearboxes, another one class, and after that I will make a separate video which is related to the brakes, and then another video related to the torques, the propeller shaft, differential, and 4-wheel drive. With that we'll be done with the unit number 4. So thank you guys for listening and going through this video. If you have any queries, you can ask me and you can ping me in case of your Google Classroom or maybe in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.